they've finally done it. I mean, or rather, at the kind of thing that that a lot of Wanderers fans have expected eventually has happened. Stephen Hart, former Stephen Hart, is now former manager for the HFX Wanderers. He has parted ways with the club, and the search for a head coach and manager begins. This was official as of yesterday morning. Stephen Hart had a long history. I mean, Stephen Hart's contribution to the sport of soccer, association football, in the in general, goes as far back as the early '80s, and in Halifax it goes no, wait, and in Halifax it goes it doesn't it was also around there. Originally from Trinidad and Tobago, he played for some clubs and he played for a couple of he played in various semi-pro teams and the national team in Trinidad and Tobago. The club teams were ones in San Fernando and Palo Seco. I believe Texaco's the name. Yes, Texaco, 1979 to 80, Texaco. Before that, 1975-1979, as a youth player for the San Fernando Hurricanes in TNT. Then, as early as 1981, in college, he played for the St. Mary's Huskies and spent a year with a semi-pro team known as the Halifax Privateers. He went back to Trinidad and Tobago in 1982 as a member of San Fernando Strikers, and then 83 to 88 for the semi-pro team King of Donaire. Then 88 to 89 for a team called the Americas, presumably also in TNT. Or not much information on the team known as Americas. But yeah, he also played in the national team 1980 before being a player manager of sorts and then a regular manager for King of Donaire and a manager for St. Mary's Huskies women's, various age groups of the Canadian national team, and as an assistant and a regular manager for the Canadian national team until 2012. Then 2013 to 2016, Trinidad and Tobago, and then 2018 to 2022, yesterday, Halifax Wanderers. So yeah, his football was life for him, and is life for him, and will continue to be life for him. He was a trophy-winning player and is a Hall of Famer for St. Mary's University sports. He was a trophy. As of now, it's uncertain where Hart will land, but he will certainly land well, as he deserves, for his lifelong contribution to the sport, particularly around here in Nova Scotia, and he'll be able to contribute to the growth of the sport of soccer. He's rightly well received for his role in representing and strengthening the sport in Nova Scotia, in Canada, and even in Trinidad and Tobago, his native country. None of that will be forgotten, whatever role he ends up taking elsewhere. I believe that sacking Stephen Hart was the right decision. He was not what we needed, and that became increasingly apparent over the years, and particularly during this season, where a lot of his tactics and his long-term plans for the club have not helped the club bear fruit, despite his best intentions. The plan isn't immediately to replace Hart with assistant coach Dorado, although I'm guessing that's a fallback if they're unsuccessful in replacing him otherwise. The preferred replacement date, according to the Coast, is by the end of 2022, so within 2.5 months. We'll see how much time it takes, or if they're even successful in making that planned end date. Club owner Derek Martin, says that around half the roster might be replaced between now and the next season. I have a performance chart that I did over various performances in the season, and I can guess who some of the players are, but I'm not going to get into that right now. That's going to be another video. One thing that's noticeable is that players, board members, assistants, and yes, even many fans who wanted him out of the manager position at the club are handling this news gracefully, wishing him well, thanking him for his efforts. Former King of Donair teammates in particular were tireless in advocating for his continued presence as Wanderers coach, even as increasing number of fans wanted him to move on in a season commonly referred to as unsuccessful and difficult. Replacement shouts from various fans include North Texas manager Pamudu Ka, Edmonton manager Alan Koch, and former York United coach and current commentator Jimmy Brennan. I'm not sure who would be best, but if there's any chance that Ka would be able to do it, that would be interesting. He might see it as a challenge. How can I help a team that's been struggling become a much better version of itself? Can I do this? Or maybe you might want to stick around in MLS and not really step down. That is up to PMK. This was coming. I'm not sure if it was coming this early, but it was coming. There was going to be increasing amounts of pressure on Stephen Hart with regard to this, and it wasn't just Stephen Hart that per se, although that how much of it the manager change solves remains to be seen, although it absolutely was a step in the right direction, because what I have no choice but to say is stubbornness of Stephen Hart with certain things has been a pitfall. Particularly with regard to starting lineups, tactics, and the timing of substitutions. I have nothing against Stephen Hart the person, and he's an absolutely amazing fella. But I agree with the decision the Wanderers have made, and I look forward to what they do between now and then, and I will pay extremely close attention and even talk about and have some videos between now and the new season in 2023 talking about how I feel about it. It would be really interesting seeing who even gets linked to us as the new gaffer. Sometimes a change in gaffer absolutely is enough. Is the start of what it takes. Look at Atletico Ottawa. They were way in the bottom in 2021. This year, they won the league table, and a lot of people fancy them for the playoffs. Carlos Gonzalez has got these guys firing in a big way. So there is potential for a new gaffer's vision and plans to be the difference or be the key difference. Certainly caught us by surprise. We hadn't won a game against them compared to us making fools of them most of the time, except for that one draw in 2021. I guess time will tell. Whatever ends up happening, whatever decisions the club makes, whoever the gaffer is in 2023, up those wonderful Blues. And I wish Stephen Hart nothing but success and success for whatever he represents in the next chapter of his life. No doubt he is going to do his best to represent the sport in some way until he has physically no choice to retire. He may be in his 60s, but he doesn't sound like the biggest, he's extremely stubborn, and he's shown that. And that can be an absolute strength for him with regard to contributing to the sport of soccer in this region, or maybe even Canada as a whole, or if he decides to, maybe even in Trinidad and Tobago, back home. We'll see. Until then, this is Wanderlust. Again, up those